WKL at 9, and we'll be starting your news at 9 p.m. First of all, before we start anything, we want to start with, we have news at Cuba. If we look back what was Cuba, we have Cuba in 1492, where we had Christopher Columbus founding it. And then we see that the inhabitants islands were soon eliminated and died as a result of disease or the shock of a conquest. Thus, the impact of indigenous groups on a subsequent Cuban society was limited, and the Spanish culture, institutions, language, and religion prevailed. Colony society developed slowly after Spain colonized the island in the 16th and 17th centuries. Pastoral pursuits and the culture served as the basis of the economy. For the first 3 centuries after the conquest, the island remained as a neglected stop point from the Spanish fleet, which visited the New World and returned to Spain with the mineral wealth of continental America. That's how we started with Cuba, and this hasn't really helped so much. But then, now looking more recently, we want to take a look at the U.S. occupation. What is now most recently is the Platt Amendment. The amendment to the U.S. Army Proportion Bills established the terms under which the United States would end its military occupation of Cuba, and which is begun in the 1998, and during the Spanish-American War, and leaving the government and control the island in Cuba to its people. While the amendment was named after Senator Orville Platt of Connecticut, it was drafted largely by Secretary of War E. Root. The Platt Amendment laid down 8 conditions to which Cuban government had agreed before the withdrawal of the U.S. forces and transfer sovereignty and would begin. That is more than mostly lazy news. And now we give the time to Natalie. What is the connection to imperialism? Like, why did the U.S. want this territory?
The United States had a strong relationship with Cuba. $50 million worth of Cuban sugar, tobacco, and iron industries was owned by the United States. The Spanish ruled Cuba, and this led to a revolution in 1895. President William McKinley was under an enormous amount of pressure to defend the island. Spanish Governor General Valeriano Weyler ordered Cuban men, women, and children into concentration camps. Residing in the camp were 200,000 Cubans. 1/8 of the population died from starvation. In the concentration camp, you could not tell siblings from rebels. The leaders of the Cuban independence movement were American citizens who took no side. They were working in Cuba and were captured by the Spanish. The Americans began to demand protection from the United States. President Cleveland wanted to stay out of Spanish affairs, as did President McKinley. They thought that the issue was a useless sacrifice of human life. President McKinley offered to buy Cuba, but his offer was rejected.
So then, as we see, there's many things here, and what we come to a prediction is that in our future presidency, we are predicting that maybe 50 years from now, maybe the isolation won't work. And what we're going to have to do, what we're predicting according to what the politics say, is that there needs to be a new approach. It says we believe we can support Cuban people and values through engagement. That's what we predict to happen. And we want to create more opportunities for the American and Cuban people and make a new chapter among the nations of Americas, is what some of the political leaders are suggesting. And really, we're all American. That's what some of them say. What is it true to be American? Today, Americans choose to cut loose on shackles of the past, but it's to reach a better future for the Cuban people and American people, for our entire hemisphere, and for the world. Well, that is all that we have for you for today, and have a good night. We'll see you next time tomorrow at 9.
Now bringing you the weather report with the 7-day forecasting. So this week is kind of looking a little cloudy. We're having a little bit of storms, rain, snow, but overall we should survive this week. But remember, we're living in Wisconsin, so be prepared for anything.